Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about a game releasing today on the Nintendo Switch, and that is Project Downfall. Now this game can be best described as a first-person action shooter, but it's definitely not your standard FPS with a very strategy and almost puzzle-like approach to its combat. Now before we get into the details, I do want to mention that I was lucky enough to get an early review code for the game, but not only that, the publisher also decided to sponsor today's video. So I really want to thank them for giving me the chance to talk to you about this amazing release. So now let's go take a look at what makes this game such a fun and unique experience on the Nintendo Switch. And just remember, if you are liking the video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Now first of all, although we'll go into more details later, the visuals are extremely important to the storyline that this game is trying to deliver. Because as soon as you're thrown into this game, visually the first thing that will hit you is that it's set in a dystopian future-like society with a very heavy cyberpunk influence. Now the game voluntarily feeds you the storyline in very small bits, trying to discover what's happening in this crazy world. But the first thing that is very obvious is that you live in a world where companies are feeding their employees drugs to get better performance out of them. However, the thing is that these drugs are most likely causing very heavy side effects because as soon as you take your first dose, you actually start to dialogue with your own brain. It also lets you know very early on that you're having memory issues that are affecting your vision of the world, which probably explains why every other person you meet looks like a comic book character, with a very samey looking, indescript face. Now we're not going to go too far into the storyline here because it'll be ruining the experience of the game, but the storyline is delivered in a very ingenious ways. Where in between the levels, for example, you return to your apartment and watch a news report that will sort of give you little tidbits of extra information. Or you'll talk to a random NPC and he'll talk to you about an ongoing gang war. Or then again, you'll even dialogue with your own girlfriend in your apartment who will sort of let you know that you're losing contact with reality. But probably one of the most interesting elements of the whole storyline is that throughout the whole game, you'll have different choices to make. Like, do you kill every character you meet, or do you just kill those you have to? And depending on those choices that you make all throughout the gameplay, you'll have 12 different endings that you can experience. And I have no difficulty to believe that many people will want to experience at least 2 or 3 of those different endings. So storyline wise, this is one crazy acid trip, however one that is a ton of fun to experience. If that storyline sounds crazy, well the gameplay might just be crazier. Now probably one of the best ways to wrap your head around the gameplay is imagine Hotline Miami if you've played that game, however reinvented as a first-person shooter. However set in a cyberpunk-influenced dystopian future. Now the game will have you playing through multiple, what I would call bite-sized levels. Because to be honest, once you've actually found out how to approach a level, you generally can finish it in under a couple of minutes. And that's really where the puzzle and strategy aspect kicks in, because rather than your standard boomer shooter where you can just waste a ton of ammo and take a lot of hits, in this one every bullet counts because you have very limited ammo and you can only take about 2 or 3 hits. So basically every level has to be approached strategically as a puzzle that needs to be solved. The good news is, however, there are generally multiple solutions depending on what type of approach you want to take. For most of it always revolves around managing which enemies to take out first, and managing the use of your pill power-ups, of which you have 3 to finish each and every level. What this does is it gives you access to a sort of bullet time effect, where you're still moving at full speed, but your enemies and the bullets are slowed down. It also unlocks a special one-hit kill kick attack that you can use to just knock out the most important enemies. Now fair warning, many levels will take multiple attempts before you actually finish them. However, as I said earlier, they are bite-sized levels and the reload time is almost instantaneous. And most of the time, it actually turned out to be really fun trying multiple different techniques before finding one that actually works for eliminating all the enemies without dying. There's also a score meter at the end of each one of the levels that will evaluate how fast you dispatched the enemies, how little damage you took, and how much style you managed to do it with. And the game really throws in some nice little touches here where you get bonus points for headshots and also nut shots. And it's really fun to see the enemies actually react to the type of damage they take. Like if you kick them or hit them in the nuts, you'll see the enemies drop to their knees. Or if you shoot them in the head, you'll just see their head blow off in one motion. Now, if this game sounds like it's a non-stop adrenaline rush, actually, it's a little bit the opposite, where at different times, the game actually tones down a ton. And as I said earlier, you'll have the choice to skip killing certain enemies altogether, which will affect which ending you get. You spare all the police officers, you get involved in a mob war, all these things will affect which ending you get. Now, normal playthrough of the game should take about 4 to 6 hours, but as I said earlier, with 12 different endings, I can easily see most people at least putting in a good 15 to 20 hours into this game because it really rewards you for going through it multiple times. And with all the different approaches you can take to the different situations, each playthrough will feel very different. So gameplay-wise, this game really impressed me. Now visually, this game I find does a genius work of delivering a package that really feels like a dystopian cyberpunk future. And at the same time, the fact that a lot of the visuals feel sort of fuzzy actually fits in with the fact that your character is supposed to be losing touch with reality and not necessarily perceiving things as they are. For example, when you look at your character, he looks like a normal human. However, each and every person you meet throughout the game, including your own girlfriend, look like these almost faceless comic book characters. And even when the killing starts, yes, the body parts are flying apart in gory shows, but they still keep that sort of surrealistic approach. So visually, I really think this game delivers an amazing experience. Now personally, I turned off all the CRT filters. I preferred a little bit more of the pure look of the game. However, it does offer multiple visual options to tailor it to what works for you. So when you start off the game, I do recommend taking at least, I would say, a 5-minute window where you take a look at the different visual options and you see what your eyes really respond to. Now, not only does this game deliver on the visual side, but also on the sound side, with a really fitting soundtrack that actually follows the action. For example, when you're in a smooth section of the game, it will definitely tone down to more of a background noise. Yet as soon as you enter combat, the soundtrack will definitely kick up and add to the action. The sound effects are also very well used in the game, like listening for your enemies reloading to give you a chance to go in for the kill, or especially if you're wearing a headset, being able to tell what direction the fire is coming from to help you in the dodges. Once again, both visually and sound-wise, this was a super impressive game. Now, today's video being a sponsored one, I won't be giving a score, but I've got to say it's a very fun and immersive experience. And other than the main storyline and gameplay, there's also a ton of little touches to really draw you into the world that the game is trying to create. For example, you might come across an arcade game that you can actually play, or at another point just stop into a bar to take a drink rather than jumping straight into the action. And I think it's these little touches combined with the great gameplay and that crazy storyline that actually delivers a truly unique game on the Nintendo Switch. Now currently, Project Downfall is being sold for $23.99 on the Nintendo Switch eShop, and the regional equivalents are up above. And it has a download size of 2 GB. So if you're looking for a very fun and original action shooter, definitely I think you should check this one out. And on the way out, don't forget that if you did like the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and click on the notification bell. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video.